Hi, I'm Bakhtiar Sanov and you're watching AnewZ Weekend. Let's see the headlines. Hamas hands over 3 Israeli hostages to Red Cross in central Gaza. In exchange, Israel freed 183 Palestinian prisoners. Wreckage of missing Alaska plane is found. All 10 aboard are presumed dead. Protests intensify in Seoul as South Koreans rally for and against President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment. Three Israeli hostages have been released by Hamas as part of the ongoing ceasefire deal. In response, Israel has freed dozens of Palestinian prisoners.
Ouad Ben-Ami, Eli Sharabi and Or Levy, 3 Israeli hostages, were handed over by Hamas on Saturday. Taken during the October the 7th attacks, they appeared visibly weak. The release was part of a ceasefire agreement, though the manner in which Hamas conducted the handover, on a podium under armed guard, has been a subject of discussion. Following their return, the families of the hostages were reunited with their loved ones. Or Levy's mother, overwhelmed with emotion, expressed her deep relief and joy upon embracing her son, saying how much she had missed him. In exchange, Israel freed 183 Palestinian prisoners, including some convicted of deadly attacks. As buses arrived in Gaza and the West Bank, large crowds gathered to welcome the freed detainees. Some of them shared their experiences in detention, with one released prisoner reflecting on the suffering they endured, but expressing gratitude for the freedom they now had.
I'm being released now because of a deal. The deal is because of negotiations. I plead that the second and third deals be implemented. This framework, that the war end, and that us, all of the prisoners, return home safely.
I know, and I'm very sorry that, as I'm being released today, my brother Yosef Sharabi, may his memory be blessed, is not here next to me today.
Discussions for further exchanges are ongoing, though concerns remain about the long-term stability of the ceasefire.
A tragic plane crash in Alaska has left no survivors. The U.S. Coast Guard found the wreckage on frozen sea ice after the aircraft went down on Thursday. Rescue teams reached the crash site on Friday and spotted 3 bodies inside the wreckage. The remaining 7 passengers are presumed to be inside as well. Officials say the plane lost altitude suddenly before crashing, and there were no signs of survivors. Investigators are now working to determine what caused the deadly accident.
Those rescue swimmers are out on the ice. They were able to see inside the aircraft, and they saw 3 individuals who were unresponsive, without any signs of life. The remaining 7 people are believed to be on board, but due to the extent of the damage, the rest of the aircraft was inaccessible. But all 7 people are believed to be inside that wreckage, and unfortunately, of course, it does not appear to be a survivable crash.
U.S. President Donald Trump has revoked former President Joe Biden's security clearances, saying there is no need for him to receive intelligence briefings. Trump announced the move on Truth Social, citing concerns about Biden's memory. Former presidents usually get some briefings, but Trump claims Biden blocked his access when he was in office. Back in 2021, Biden said Trump shouldn't get briefings due to his erratic behavior.
He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th President of the United States, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. The Hur report revealed that Biden suffers from poor memory and even in his prime could not be trusted with sensitive information. I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again.
U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to revoke Joe Biden's security clearances has sparked discussions about vengeance and political dynamics. Jared Monjain, Director of Research at the United States Studies Center, shares his thoughts on this move, describing it as a tit-for-tat and commenting on Trump's approach to policy. Here is more from his interview.
approach of the administration the first few weeks has definitely been one of vengeance, and it's been one that they said they would have, and that it would be vengeful. And notably, he took Joe Biden's security clearance in the same way that Joe Biden took Donald Trump's security clearance. But Donald Trump did not take the security clearance of George W. Bush or Barack Obama. And let's not forget that Barack Obama campaigned pretty aggressively against Donald Trump. So I think this is definitely one thing you can call it a tit for tat.
The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, is facing one of the most dramatic overhauls in its history. The Trump administration has moved to slash its workforce from over 10,000 employees to just 294, effectively freezing operations worldwide. The decision has triggered legal battles, criticism from former officials, and scrutiny from foreign governments. But beyond Washington, the debate over USAID is taking unexpected turns, spanning from Georgia to Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and now Hungary. Our report examines how an agency once at the forefront of U.S. foreign policy is now at the center of a global controversy.
On January 20th, 2025, President Donald Trump ordered an immediate halt to USAID's operations, citing wasteful spending and mismanagement. The agency's workforce has been reduced to just 294 employees, leaving thousands without jobs and aid programs around the world in limbo. The White House claims the agency was funding unnecessary and politically driven initiatives, pointing to projects such as diversity and inclusion programs in Serbia, $1.5 million, a transgender opera in Colombia, gender-related projects in Peru, Guatemala and Ireland, electric vehicle development in Vietnam, $2.5 million, tourism subsidies in Egypt, $6 million. Critics argue these allocations diverted USAID from its primary mission of humanitarian aid and development. While legal battles play out in Washington, international reactions to the USAID shutdown are growing. Georgia, the ruling Georgian Dream Party, has accused USAID, alongside the US Embassy and EU-backed NGOs, of coordinated interference in Georgia's internal affairs. Officials claim that USAID has funded civil society groups with the aim of influencing political discourse, drawing parallels to previous accusations against Western-backed institutions. The government appears to be welcoming Trump's approach, expecting a shift in US foreign policy that would cut NGO influence in the country. Kazakhstan, the country's parliament is calling for an official investigation into USAID's activities, citing concerns over foreign influence and social engineering. Lawmakers have singled out USAID's $2 million funding to ILGA Europe, an LGBTQ+ advocacy group, as an example of outside interference in domestic policy. The push for an inquiry aligns with broader concerns about Western influence in Central Asia and follows similar criticisms from Russia and China. Azerbaijan. USAID has long been suspected of funding media and civil society organizations with the intent of shaping political narratives. Reports suggest that since 2012, the agency has financed over 6,200 journalists and 707 media outlets globally, raising questions about its role in international media campaigns. During the Second Karabakh War of 2020, Azerbaijan accused USAID-backed organizations of amplifying anti-Azerbaijani narratives. More recently, officials have linked USAID-funded initiatives to international criticism surrounding the 29th Conference of the Parties and environmental protests along the Lachin Road. Hungary. The Trump administration's cuts to USAID have received strong backing from Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. His government has announced plans to eliminate foreign-funded NGOs and media outlets, calling them tools of external interference. Hungary has also established a sovereignty protection office to investigate organizations suspected of foreign influence. Meanwhile, Hungarian Foreign Minister openly supported Trump's suspension of USAID payments, stating the agency had been used to destabilize other countries and promote programs alien to national values. The irony surrounding USAID's situation has not gone unnoticed. For decades, the agency advocated for democracy, transparency, and accountability abroad. Now, it finds itself accused of financial mismanagement and political bias. With the agency's fate hanging in the balance, analysts say the outcome could redefine the future of US foreign aid. If USAID survives, it will likely be a shell of its former self. If dismantled entirely, it will mark the end of an era for America's soft power strategy. One thing is clear. For an agency that spent decades shaping international politics, it has now become the story itself.
African leaders have gathered in Tanzania's city of Dar es Salaam in efforts to find a resolution to the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Leaders of Eastern and Southern African regional blocs have met in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, for a joint summit to find a solution to the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Last week, Rwandan-backed M23 rebels captured Goma, the largest city in the DRC. This has been the worst escalation of fighting in the region in more than a decade, leaving thousands dead. Now these leaders have gathered in efforts to keep the situation from worsening.
The recent escalation of hostilities in Goma and the surrounding areas is a stark reminder of the increasing fragility the situation presents, and that only collective action to facilitate a negotiated solution will offer relief. The time for action is now. The lives of millions depends on our ability to navigate this complex and challenging situation with wisdom, clarity of mind, empathy for the millions whose lives and livelihoods have been plunged into uncertainty.
Rwanda has denied accusations that thousands of its troops are fighting alongside the M23, despite the United Nations claiming to have evidence. Meanwhile, UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk warns of the risk of the violence escalating throughout the region.
If nothing is done, the worst may yet to come for the people of the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, but also beyond the country's borders. The risk of violence escalating throughout the sub-region has never been more acute.
Despite the M23 rebels announcing a unilateral ceasefire, they have continued to march south in a rapid offensive, raising fears of a regional conflagration. The Dar es Salaam summit will seek a breakthrough after two peace processes in Luanda and Nairobi have stalled as tensions escalate.
Protests intensify in Seoul as South Koreans rally for and against President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment ahead of crucial final hearings to decide his political future.
Thousands of protesters gathered in Seoul on Saturday, braving freezing temperatures to rally for or against the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol. With only 2 hearings left in his impeachment trial, South Koreans expressed their divided views as the Constitutional Court prepares to decide his fate.
President Yoon is fighting in court over issues related to the fake election and anti-state forces. If the reasons for declaring martial law are established, his impeachment will be invalidated and South Korea will recover.
I think the Constitutional Court justices are in the process of confirming one by one that the facts that Yoon is saying of the case are utterly unreasonable. His insurrection charges are clear, and the public believes he should be removed from office.
Yoon, who was impeached in late 2024, faces a pivotal moment as the Constitutional Court prepares to finalise its decision on his political future. The court hearings, scheduled for February 11th and 13th, will determine whether the impeachment stands or if he will be reinstated. Yoon, currently imprisoned and facing separate charges of insurrection, declared martial law in 2024, which became central to the impeachment proceedings. His supporters argue that the impeachment is politically motivated, while his critics maintain that his actions violated the Constitution. As protests continue, Yoon remains detained, awaiting the final decision on both his impeachment and insurrection charges.
Tens of thousands gathered in cities across Slovakia to protest what they see as a policy shift by Prime Minister Robert Fico, aimed at moving closer to Russia. The latest wave of anti-government rallies was fueled by Fico's recent trip to Moscow for talks with President Vladimir Putin.
Tens of thousands of people have filled streets across Slovakia, calling for the resignation of Prime Minister Robert Fico. They're protesting what they see as a policy shift aimed at moving closer to Russia.
The reason why I came is basically very simple, and is that I want to live in Slovakia, which belongs to the European Union, and I don't want to live in Russia.
The latest wave of anti-government rallies was fueled by Fico's recent trip to Moscow for talks with President Vladimir Putin. Fico's views on Russia have largely differed from the European mainstream. He ended Slovakia's military aid for Ukraine, criticised European Union sanctions on Russia, and vowed to block Ukraine from joining NATO.
Today, all free and peaceful, but dissatisfied citizens must stand together so that we are not swallowed up by a Russian-style dictatorship in the near future. We, the citizens of Slovakia, are filled with the desire for a peaceful life, a safe and prosperous country in Europe. We are filled with the desire to fight for a better life and a future for our children. Slovakia is Europe. Resign.
The government is weighing up new preventative measures due to what Fico has said were plans to escalate protests into attempts at illegally overthrowing the government. Fico has rejected opposition calls to step down.
Hundreds of small earthquakes that shook Greece's tourist hotspot of Santorini this week have revived concerns about the safety of a decades-long construction boom along the island's sheer volcanic cliffs.
No serious damage has been reported, but scientists have warned that the seismic activity in Santorini could last for weeks and haven't ruled out the possibility of a larger quake to come. That worries experts, some of whom have long questioned the sustainability of turning the small island of quaint villages into one of Europe's most popular holiday destinations.
In Santorini, old and abandoned buildings may face issues in a magnitude 6 earthquake, while modern structures are unaffected. Engineers are prioritizing inspections, especially for buildings housing crucial services, as part of a nationwide effort.
Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis urged calm when he visited the island and defended construction standards.
Greece is a country that has experience with earthquakes, so we have a very strict building code which is applied across the country, especially in those areas that are more earthquake prone, and that is why we feel very, very confident that everything that could be done basically has been done. But for me, it's important to send a very, very clear signal that we're doing nothing more than taking all the necessary precautions, and hopefully in a few weeks this seismic activity will have completely subsided.
The tremors prompted the government to declare a state of emergency on Thursday. Meanwhile, thousands of people left on planes and ferries. Authorities announced the landslide warnings for 5 areas, including Santorini's main port and cordoned off areas along the caldera, the rim of ancient sunken volcano whose sides plunge into the clear waters of the Aegean.
The 9th Asian Winter Games were officially inaugurated on Friday evening with a spectacular and culturally rich opening ceremony in Harbin, the capital of northeast China's Heilongjiang province. The grand event showcased the city's deep connection to snow and ice, paying tribute to its renowned winter traditions and vibrant seasonal festivities.
Chinese President Xi Jinping declared the 9th Asian Winter Games open in front of 8,000 spectators at the Harbin International Conference, Exhibition and Sports Center. Sports delegations from the 34 participating countries and regions entered the arena in alphabetical order based on their national or regional Olympic Committee names. The creative program in the colorful opening ceremony offered a glimpse of Harbin's unique winter charm, including its landmarks, local cultural elements, and its winter sports tradition. It also depicted an inspiring story of a little girl's winter sports journey, featuring predominantly young college performers, highlighting the growing passion for ice and snow sports in China, while also reflecting the wider winter sports movement across Asia. Running from February 7th to 14th and held under the theme Dream of Winter, Love Among Asia, this year's edition of the Games is said to be the largest ever in terms of overall participation, with over 1,200 competitors from 34 countries and regions competing in 64 events across 11 winter sports disciplines.
Inclusivity aims to ensure the equal participation of every member of society. In today's report, we introduce you to Azerbaijan's first inclusive cafe. Known as Kashalata, this cafe attracts attention not only with its delicious food, but also with its socially responsible approach.
Kashalata is the name of Azerbaijan's first inclusive cafe. It's not merely a workplace. Kashalata is a place where lives are transformed.
This cafe is not only a business, it's a place of opportunity. Here, young people gain meaningful work experience, helping them build self-confidence, social skills, and career prospects. At first glance, it may seem like just another cafe, but for those who work here, each day is a step toward independence, growth, and social connection.
Kashalata Cafe started as a pilot project in 2017, aimed at engaging neurodiverse individuals in work and teaching them job skills. Our biggest dream was to see Kashalata Cafe as an independent cafe in the city center. My son, Hamza, is a 21-year-old young man with autism. When he was very young, he combined the two words spoon and salad into kashik and salata to refer to all food. When I first heard those words, I dreamed of opening a cafe like this. And in this cafe, the staff would consist of neurodiverse youth. On October 1st, 2022, Kashalata Cafe began operating in one of the city's most central locations.
This is about more than employment. It's about challenging perceptions. Customers arrive expecting a regular cafe experience but leave with a deeper understanding of inclusivity and human potential. Here, employees aren't defined by their challenges but by their skills. Whether they're crafting coffee, welcoming guests, or managing tasks.
Our team consists of people with autism and Down syndrome, and I'm going to say about my profession. I am barista, as I said. I prepare hot drinks such as coffee, tea, or etc. Also, I want to say that I'm a student of Azerbaijan University of Language. My faculty's name is Teacher of Foreign Language. My foreign language is English. I am a second-year student.
Now, I played local and French music on the piano with internet and via shared music. Moreover, I work as a barista at Kashalata Cafe. This is the first inclusive cafe in Azerbaijan. I serve clients. I prepare all kind of cafe, and I give guests musical moments playing and piano.
The cafe's success is the result of years of advocacy and collaboration. Support from both the government and private sector has turned this initiative into reality, showing that inclusion in the workplace is not only possible, but essential.
This support was given to us by both the government and private entities, showing that they stand by neurodiverse individuals. Currently, Kashalata Cafe has about 20 employees, half of whom are neurodiverse individuals, including children with Down syndrome and autism spectrum disorder. Initially, we trained these individuals at the Autism Center operating under the Public Union for Unified and Healthy Society and taught them every detail required for each profession. As a result, they gained job skills. Now, they work as waiters, baristas, and assistant chefs. Through this, we want to tell society that when we open our doors to these children and everyone supports them, there is nothing they cannot achieve.
Kashalata is proving that inclusion is more than just an idea. It's a transformative force. By supporting spaces like this, more individuals can find opportunities to thrive and contribute to society. Because real progress begins when every person has the chance to be seen, heard, and valued.
That's all we have for now from Baku. Thank you for tuning in and keep watching AnewZ.